Can you see the screen? Good morning.
Hey, Bhante.
Good morning,
Can you
Bhante.
see?
Good
Good morning.
Bhante.
Can you see the screen?
Good morning,
Yes.
Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante. Yes, we can see the screen.
You can?
Yes.
Yes,
You
Bhante.
can see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, Bhante, we can see the screen.
Okay, good, good. Okay, then let us see. Okay. All right.
Morning.
You still can see the screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, Bhante.
Okay.
Bhante, if you are sharing a text, we can't see that.
Huh?
If you are sharing a text, we can't see that.
Yeah,
Why? He wants to see you.
I want you to see the text.
We cannot see your screen share, Bhante. We cannot see the text.
You don't see the text?
Not
No.
yet. See what? The text. What's the text he said? He's going to share a sutta.
I just made you the host again, Bhante, so you should be able to share it.
Can
Now,
you-
now we can.
Okay. All right. Okay. Today we are going to discuss this discourse. That's called Adi Brahmacharya Panya Suttam. That's a Pali title, although it's in English it is just wisdom. So because there are these 8 causes and conditions that leads to obtaining the wisdom fundamental to the spiritual life. When it has not been obtained, and to its increase, maturation, and fulfillment by development and development after it has been obtained. What has not been obtained? Wisdom. That is fundamental to spiritual life. Of course, someone who has not obtained the wisdom necessary for spiritual life, then that person has to do the following 8 things. Then that person will gain this wisdom which has not been obtained, and then it will increase, reach maturation, and reach fulfillment. So, what are the 8 things he has to develop? These are the 8 things in order to have fundamental the wisdom for spiritual life. That is very important to remember. Here, a bhikkhu lives in dependence on the teacher or on a certain fellow monk in the position of a teacher, towards whom he has set up a keen sense of moral shame and moral dread, affection and reverence. This is the first cause and condition that leads to obtaining the wisdom fundamental to the spiritual life. When it has not been obtained, and to its increased maturation and fulfillment by development after it has been obtained. Now, this causes and conditions both go together always. The presence of a teacher is a cause. Presence of a teacher, or that the Buddha, or someone very highly mentally developed, that person is the cause. And condition is the situation where the persons, the students should have. So condition and causes are related, but at the same time, there's little difference. Therefore, uh, we say weather conditions, patience conditions, and so forth. But all these have causes and conditions. And then number one of these qualities is that the student who has not gained that wisdom must have moral shame and moral dread towards the teacher. That means those are the conditions. The student must not behave in front of their teachers. That behavior, so that the teacher would not reprimand the student when the student does something, without moral shame and without dread, the teacher will reprimand. At that time, the students' keen interest in learning will little bit diminish. And the reverence and respect, affection toward the teacher may not be complete because the student doesn't have wisdom. Therefore, the first thing he must do before he meet the teacher, he must have polite, respectful attitude towards the teacher, affection and reverence towards the teacher. And the second is, and this is very important, second also is, towards whom I set up a moral shame and interest, affection and so forth, he approaches the teacher, the Buddha or the respectable teacher, from time to time and inquires, how is this, Bhante? What is the meaning of this? That means you must develop your factor of enlightenment, the factor of investigation. This is how we develop investigation. Your purpose is to gain wisdom. Of course, in the spiritual life, in order to gain wisdom, you keep questioning. Questioning is not something bad. From time to time, when you go to the teacher and ask questions, the meaning. And then those venerable ones then disclose to him what has not been disclosed. Clear up what is obscure and dispel his perplexity about numerous perplexing points. Now, good student must ask teachers questions, and good teachers must explain the meaning of must give the correct answer to the questions. And then the students, sometimes certain things in his previous teaching he might have forgotten to disclose. Not that he wanted to hide, but he might have forgotten to disclose. So when you ask a question, he will disclose it. And when something was not very clear, then when you ask questions, he will clear it up for you. And if there is any doubt, you may have some complexity, a perplexity or a doubt, so he will clarify your doubt. This is very important. So this is the investigation of Dhamma through a teacher. Then the third thing is the students having learned the Dhamma, having got his doubt clarified and made the Dhamma clear to him, now he is very well equipped with the knowledge of Dhamma. And then he can have two kind of withdrawal called seclusion. Upakata in Pali. Two kinds of what you call seclusion. You can see the withdrawal in body and withdrawal in mind. Physical seclusion and mental seclusion. What is physical seclusion? We all know that. We go to a quiet place, appasadda, appane gosa, vijanavata, manusarasaya, patisallana sarupa, these five qualities, not too many noises, not too many sounds, not human movement, and being able to hide away from human beings, and suitable for reflecting on the Dhamma. Mental seclusion is secluding, removing hindrances, greed, hatred, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry, and anger. And these are the five hindrances one has to remove in order to have a mental seclusion, mental withdrawal. That means one may not totally have attained jhanas, but at least one must have these hindrances put aside. That is the third condition. And the fourth is also practice. It dwells sustained by the Patimokkha, possess of good conduct and resort, seeing danger in minute faults, having undertaken the rules, training rules, he train in them. That means when one goes to seclusion, there still can be some, because the person is not wise and not attain enlightenment, there may occur certain situation where he may commit some offenses, break some rules, damage his virtues, seal, moral principles, he may damage. And therefore, he must be very careful. Of course, when you are alone, you can do anything. That is the particular time, actually, one has to be more careful, more mindful to keep his mind free from the temptation to commit unwholesome things. And also follow the Bhatimukha rules. Of course, this advice is given to monks and nuns. Of course, it is already mentioned monks, but nuns also included. who are dedicated to this practice, and they all have rules and regulations, and they try to keep them as honestly as possible. Mine's 227, non 311 rules. And that make the person, and even abstaining to doing some wrong things, they may even be very minute and they will be dangerous. Then the mind has such a clear, straightforward moral principles. The person has self-confidence, and therefore the practice will go very smoothly. And then he learns much. That is also important. In Pali it's called Bhavsutta. Bhavsutta has learned much, remembers what he has learned, and accumulates what he has learned. Those teachings that are good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end, in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing, which proclaims the perfectly complete and pure spiritual life. Now, that is called in Pali. Pali words are very, very clear. Adi Kalyanam, Madhya Kalyanam, Pariyodhana Kalyanam. Sattang Saviganjanam Kevala Paripurnam Parisuddham Brahmacharyam Abhivadanti. The pure spiritual life is proclaimed. What is Adi Kalyana? The good in the beginning, that is sila, morality. Good in the middle, samadhi, concentration. Good in the end, wisdom. Sila, samadhi, panya. Sila, samadhi, panya. The teaching has the training has sila first, that is beginning, good in the beginning, samadhi good in the middle, panya good in the end. When one has these three segments in the Dhamma, one sees with the, and this also in the Dhamma, the one sees right meaning and phrasing, which proclaims the perfectly, complete, pure spiritual life. This teaching shows perfectly clear spiritual life. And then that person must learn this teaching as much as he can. Not everything. He learns as much as he can and retain in mind. Learning something temporarily and forgetting may not help very much. And in order to keep it in mind, recite it verbally. That is very important. Vachasa parchita, recited verbally and mentally investigated. Then manasanupekita. Now memorizing, verbalizing, and then one must mentally reflect on them again and again and again, and penetrated well by views. So view here means right understanding, right understanding, samadhi. Here ditya suparividya. Ditya here means samadhi, right view. With the right view in mind, one must penetrate into this teaching that he has learned, memorized. verbally repeated, and so forth. Now, this is the fifth quality, fifth cause and condition that leads to the obtaining of wisdom, fundamental to the spiritual life, and so forth. Then, having done all these things, he has aroused energy for obtaining, abandoning unwholesome qualities and acquiring wholesome qualities. Now, this is right effort to prevent unwholesome mental states and to arouse energy for, that is, abandoning unwholesome mental states, unwholesome qualities. Then acquiring wholesome qualities. Out of four kind of efforts, two are mentioned here. One is abandoning unwholesome mental state, and the other is acquiring wholesome mental state. You have to make effort. And the other two is preventing and development. We learn it in the right effort. Now, in this practice, he must be very strong. He is strong, firm in exertion, not casting off the duty of cultivating wholesome qualities. Now, this is the sixth cause and conditions that this person has to practice in order to gain spiritual wisdom, in order to gain wisdom fundamental to spiritual life. 7. In the midst of the Sangha, he does not engage in rambling and pointless talks. Either he himself speak on the Dhamma or he requests someone else to do so, or he adopts the noble silence. So Buddha said, when one assembled, he said two things. Sannipatthana bhikkhuna dvayam karaniyam. They must do one of the two things, either they speak on the Dhamma or observe silence. Here, three options are given. One is either he himself speak on the Dhamma. Of course, he is not ready, not prepared to, no, it doesn't have confidence in teaching, talking on Dhamma in the assembly. Then he requests another one who can give Dhamma talks, who may have been prepared for giving the talk. If we cannot do either of these things, third option is observe noble silence. Noble silence is you can attain, you can observe when you attain the second jhana, where vitakka vichara will subside. Vitakka is verbal condition. Vitakka vichara, verbal conditions. That means we first think and then we talk. Even that will cease when you attain the second jhana. That is the state where you have real noble silence. Of course, some people say you have to attain the fourth jhana to have the noble silence. Of course, attaining the second jhana is the minimum requirement to conditions to observe noble silence, or to call it noble silence. The highest requirement is attaining the fourth jhana, and there you are totally silent. Now, this is the seventh condition and cause and condition, a preliminary or fundamental to spiritual life, to obtain wisdom. And the eighth is, he dwells contemplating arising and vanishing in the five aggregates subject to clinging. Now, such is form, such is origin, such is its passing away. We know five aggregates: form, feeling, perception, volitional activities, and consciousness. Now, such is the form. So you must contemplate on the arising and vanishing in the five aggregates. So in the first place, one must understand what the five aggregates are. Everybody knows these five, but the arising, such is the form. When we say such is the form, how do you understand that? Form is made up of four elements: earth, water, air, fire. And such is its arising. Form arises when these four elements come together, form arises. And also, form originates, arises, renews by food, material food, four kind of food: material food, contact, and thought, and consciousness. They are called Kavalinkara, Bhasahara, Manosanchetana, and Vijnana. These are the four kind of things that support, brings form. So renews the form, origin. Such is passing away. When desire passes away, form passes away, ahara passes away. And when they passes away, form passes away. That means the form will not arise again when they pass away. Five aggregates and five aggregates subject to clinging are two things. Five aggregates are these five. Five aggregates subject to clinging is clinging, holding on to these five. Holding on to these five is called, when we hold on to these five, they are called aggregates of clinging, or aggregates subject to clinging. Persons who has not attained full enlightenment has all five aggregates subject to clinging. And the noble ones, Arahants and so forth, Arahants, the Buddha and so forth, they also have aggregates. They have form, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness. But they don't cling to them. Therefore, they are just five aggregates. Five aggregates. When they attain full enlightenment, they give up their attachment to the five aggregates. And they are called, that attainment is called Sa Upadisesa Nibbana. Sa Upadi. Upadi means clinging. Upadi means aggregates. Upadi means aggregates. Sa Upadisesa means they attain full enlightenment by eliminating all defilements. And yet the body exists. Aggregates exist. When they attain Nibbana, when they are dying, in simple terms, when they die, then they are called Anupadisesa Nibbana. Na upadi, that means they have completely exhausted their samsaric existence, no more rebirth. Katan karaniyan na parangitata. Natidani punabbavu. That means they don't have any more existence. That is called nir-upadisesa nibbana. Okay, anyway. So such is feelings, and also feeling arises because of the contact. Contact is the food of feelings, and when contact disappears, feeling disappears. Such is the perception. Also, contact is the source of cause of perception. When contact is, perception arises. When there is no concept, uh, contact, perception ceases. Such as the volitional formations. Volitional formations is avidya, ignorance. When avidya pacha sankhara, we all know. When ignorance ceases, volitional formation ceases. When volitional ignorance arises, ignorance present, volitional is present. Volitional activities are present. Similarly, consciousness. Consciousness arises through when we have senses and sensory object, consciousness arises. Chakunti parichupadi, chaku vijnana. Eye and form come together, consciousness arises. Ear and sound comes together, ear consciousness arises. Nose and smell come together, nose consciousness arises. Then body and contact comes together, body consciousness arises. Mind and mind object come together, mind consciousness arises. When the contact disintegrate, disappear, disconnect, then consciousness ceases. Such is the such is the passing away. These are the 8 cause and condition that leads to the obtaining the wisdom fundamental to the spiritual life when it has not been obtained, and its increased maturation and fulfillment by development after it has been obtained. Now, this venerable monk or nun is respected among the community by other fellow monks, respect him for practicing these 8, such as this venerable one lives dependent on the teacher on certain on another teacher, Buddha on another teacher, towards whom he has keen, set up keen sense of moral shame and so forth, affection. Then this quality leads to affection, respect, development, seclusion, and unity. Now, among the community, this particular person will be highly esteemed, respected by the fellow monastics, leads to affection, respect, development, that is bhavana, and complete this monastic life, or what do you call their jnana, and they also respect him, saying that this monk knows, this venerable one surely knows and sees. Why he knows and sees? Why they have this confidence? Because he always constantly living with respect and honor, moral dread and moral fear to their teachers. Secondly, he goes from time to time to teacher and ask questions and clarify his doubt. Therefore, they have respect for him. He is not talking nonsense when he talks on the Dhamma. And therefore, they have this respect, affection, and help them to development and live in holy life, seclusion, and unity. Unity of this kind of sangha is a source of happiness. Sukha sukha samagana tapo sukho. Their spiritual practice development will become unity. It will become a source of happiness. And also, third quality is this particular monk has observed these two kinds of seclusion, physical and verbal. And then fourth quality is he lives in according to moral principles, and therefore he learns these things well. And the fifth quality is learning the Dhamma, memorizing, verbally repeating, reflecting on them, and knows the deep meaning of them, and therefore they respect him. Not anything outside spiritual development. And then he has not been lazy, he has always energetic to get it, to prevent unwholesome thought arising, overcoming unwholesome thought, and developing, arousing wholesome thought, and developing, cultivating wholesome thought. He is always energetic, and therefore he earned respect and reverence from other monks. And seven qualities, Sangha, also respect him because he, when he comes to the meetings, he doesn't talk nonsense, no gossip, no simply verbal babbling. He talks only on the Dhamma. If he cannot, he asks another one, or observe noble silence. And then the last one is, this venerable monk knows the five aggregates, their origin and cessation. And therefore we have full respect for this monk. And Buddha said, monks, bhikkhus, these are the 8 causes and conditions that lead to obtaining the wisdom fundamental to the spiritual life, when it has not been obtained, and to its increase, maturation, fulfillment by development after it has been obtained. Now, friends, this is very, very good reflection for all of us to keep in mind when we are walking on our spiritual path. This is the kind of thought we have to cultivate. And I encourage you to read this and try to remember and try to follow as much of these things as possible. So let us have some time for our regular meditation.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Now you can see this also.
No, Bhante.
I'm sure now you will see it. Right?
Yes, Bhante.
May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother who risks her own life to protect her only child, Even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Now let us have meditation. We have 20 minutes. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish. May I join always with the wise, until the time and attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be, from the highest realm of existence to the lowest. May all beings ascend in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, friends, let me end this session with our regular metta wish. May all those who are in hospitals suffering from various diseases and taken care of by doctors, nurses, hospital staffs, and may they all recover soon, and may they all liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all doctors, nurses, hospital staffs who are taking care of these people also find time to practice Dhamma, meditation, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all those who have lost their loved ones may still be grieving. May they be free from grief, and may they try to understand the Dhamma, practice meditation, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. And may all those who are in trouble spots in various places, war zones, poverty-stricken, discriminations, and recently most unfortunate earthquake destroyed many lives in Myanmar and Thailand. And those who have been a victim of this earthquake, may they all find time in samsara, wherever they are born. May they find peace, happiness, liberate from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in the northern direction, northeastern direction, eastern direction, southeastern direction, southern direction, southwestern direction, western direction, northwestern direction, and all this, and up and below, be well, happy, and peaceful. May they all attain liberation from samsaric suffering. That's all we can do today, friends, and I hope to see tomorrow with your questions. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you, Bhante.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bhante.
Bhante. Sadhu,
Everyone,
sadhu.
Saranay
Bye,
Bhante.
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 Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you for your help, Bhante.
Bye.
Everyone, Saranai Bhante.